There were several games released in 2007 that essentially got standing ovations from critics and players that I just kinda liked, at best, even though I played them when they were new and fresh and all the hype. Portal is one of them. Do I think the game is expertly designed? Yes. Though I do believe the last third or so, which for a game like Portal that can be completed in several hours is a pretty substantial chunk, doesn't work as well from an atmospheric perspective, in a sense that we're supposed to be escaping the test facility, but levels still feel like we're going through artificial tests. But those are still really good levels. And in general, the game is really good at teaching how to think with portals, as per its tagline, gradually introducing various gameplay elements and increasing complexity in smart ways. The portal mechanic allows for ingenious solutions not necessarily planned by the game beforehand, and visually the whole process looks pretty amazing. The portals really pop on the test chamber whites. Which I suppose brings me to another point I really appreciate about Portal. It's a very holistic game. The gameplay, the environments, the music, the ambience, the visual effects, the world building, the premise, everything just works very nicely together, built entirely around the central conceit of using portals, including the super intelligent computer GLaDOS, who is going to be a practically constant presence, and she is voiced perfectly. That being said, I suppose GLaDOS is also the reason why I'm not too into Portal, I guess. In 2007, she was a breakout character, but for me, even though I have always been a sucker for dry sarcastic humor, she didn't do much until the very end of the game, where her rogue AI persona really goes into overdrive. And while funny, that's too little too late. And here's the thing, GLaDOS is the glue of the entire experience. Without her, Portal is a very nice conceptually, but ultimately dry and kinda lifeless puzzle game. And because I don't really care for GLaDOS throughout most of the experience, it's as if she isn't really there in the first place, hence why, to me, despite appreciating Portal on a let's call it more objective level, I'm not drawn to it on an emotional level. So Portal is an exceptionally designed puzzle game that I just don't particularly resonate with. And when it comes to ranking, it will definitely go below Shadow of the Colossus as per my new method of ranking games. That is, the question, if being forced to replay one of the two titles being compared for the list, what would I choose with less amount of hesitation? I might have big frustrations with the gameplay of Shadow of the Colossus, but it still is a much more emotionally and conceptually resonating game for me than Portal, so I would rather get back to that one instead. Also, as I mentioned before, I'm gradually going through all titles I've already discussed to make sure they correspond to this new, straightforward method of ranking, and we have the first big change. Zork goes below Breakout as opposed to its original placement above. Back then I placed Zork above since I have put a lot of value in my initial engagement of it during the first several hours. But if I'm to say which game I would more readily get back to, Breakout or Zork, it's definitely not Zork.